Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hardcore Heroes Otherside.
Yeah.
You
Before I throw
guys,
things back
yes?
to Kyan, so at the end of all these pairs with Van, so I think like the first two nights where he was trying to contact Cheese, like Van's a very holy man, and being out of contact left him very unhinged, and he's being very careful about not showing this. He's got high wisdom, willpower, whatever you want to go by for the name, and he's very careful about not showing these emotions on the outside. But I think anybody who like watches closely during those first nights probably sees him like starting to break down to tears toward the end of it, like desperately trying to communicate with this person who he's been like very close with for his whole life and being completely unable. But when he attempts the Purr to Malchus, like he's maybe very calm going through that. Like it's probably better to be sitting in your room in the dark talking to the monster in your closet than it is to just be like floating around in the void with nobody to hear you. So I think Van is surprisingly calm during that whole ordeal. Maybe has like this sense of like relaxed or maybe rejuvenated after the event.
Okay.
Just something that I wanted to throw out there.
Kine, what is your
Let me see. It was
lower reflectory skill?
Well, I think I can. It normally only allows me to make arrows or bows, but
You're just making wooden spears, right? You're just making like you got a stick and you sharpen the end of it into a good point. You make sure it's balanced and good enough to fight.
Just making really big arrows.
So if you just want to make pointed sticks, you can kind of make
javelins, wood javelins, basically. I mean,
yeah,
no javelins are made out of wood and.
You know, if you don't have any specific head to attach, all you're trying to do is make a pointed spear with a nice straight stick. The only real limit to that is finding pieces of wood that would be javelin appropriate, right? Because if you find a big thing, you might have to smooth it down.
I had them cut wood for this, so this is not just gathered sticks or something. This is wood that was cut, and then I will carve it basically.
Right. So most of it's not getting the point to the end of it into a point that's problematic. It's getting a fairly straight branch, right? If you got like they cut a branch and you have to even it out so it's thin enough to work, and you know so it's not super wobbly. So most of the time is going to be getting a nice smooth dowel. So why don't we say you've got branches to do this? Why don't we say you can make like D6 in your downtime, and that'll reflect not so much failing, but the amount of effort, the amount of wood that you need to clear out to get it into a nice smooth bore.
What span of time?
D6 per day, we'll say. Maybe not per day. I don't want to give out.
D3 per day.
Well, because I don't want to tell you how many days have passed. I want you guys to still kind of be in the dark about how much time has gone through here.
I mean, I can make D6 arrows per day, so you can base it somewhere around.
You could just roll it in secret, Neal, and tell them.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Rather than having you roll it, I'll roll it in secret so you don't know quite how many days have passed, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your skill?
As Neal picks up hundreds and hundreds of D6s.
I don't need to make a check for making arrows or something.
No? Okay, cool. Then we'll just say...
The check is only if I want to make special things.
Uh, 22 javelins you've been able to make.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, I will probably...
You can decide how many days that is on your own.
It's not about days, it's more about how I will hand them out. How far can a javelin be thrown?
I have to look it up. I'm just writing down some other things right now.
Missile weapons, javelin is 20, 40, 60 to max range is 180 feet. Okay.
And there were 22 spears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will probably...
Oh, and you guys are down to 42 bolts after that first volley of 6 crossbow bolts.
I will ask Van how we would like to hand out these javelins. We could give them to maybe one to the spearmen each to throw before getting ready, or we could hand them to normal people.
I'd say give them to trained fighters, like the knights, the town's guard ourselves. We're probably better with them than anybody else. We have a limited quantity. Spread them out, but I'd say we should always, like, you, me, the knights should always get one at least.
If I carry one,
I mean, we're already held back by the group that we're
okay, right. Yeah, but
we're traveling with.
Combat we would be slower also.
Yeah, but you're gonna throw it before you start a fight. Is my logic here.
See, how much does the javelin weigh?
It's all wood, so it's probably slightly off.
2 pounds. So I couldn't even carry one without being medium in combat.
Right. What I'm saying is, though, that we're already moving at half speed because we have a slow group. So you chuck one, and then you're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. So we have 22.
Yeah. So I'll take one. Kine can take one. We'll give, I guess, 2 each to the knights to throw.
Okay.
And then 2 each to the town guard. And then 1 to, I guess, some other people. I guess the spearmen, so that they can chuck something before they have to meet for a fight.
And 2 for each of you.
Wait.
One for me. I can take 2, but Kine should probably only take 1 if he's going to hit medium encumbrance.
2 to knights, town guard.
I take 2. I take 2. Van takes 2. Each knight takes 2. Town guards takes 2. So that's
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That leaves 10 with the folks.
I would say 10 we leave. I will make more, so we leave 10 at the side for now.
Okay. So you guys have reached Anvil.
Mm-hmm. And we will
a lot
probably
of stream lag. A lot of stream lag.
Do you want to give it like 30 seconds to see if it clears up?
No, it's been lagging for a while.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing. There's nothing to do.
Okay, then.
Oh yeah, it's network lag. It's not localized. It's
okay.
Okay.
We will probably head to the keep, and sheriff's office, and smithies to see if we can find weapons.
Yes, we're gonna look around and see what we can find in Anvil, I guess. Biggest thing I think is going to be filling up on water.
Yeah, water. So we should head to the keep on the way, fill up on water. That's the first thing.
It's easy to spread out and start gathering water and refilling your barrels and having people drink what they need. You make your way past the sheriff's station on the way to Keep, which is in the very center of town. There's like a raised, packed mound that's been cut off on the sides. You kind of have this like, what do you call it? A plateau that sticks up, or a mesa that sticks up in the center of town with a keep on it. The sheriff's station's on the way, and inside the sheriff's station, you find, again, a pair of spears and a crossbow. And
exactly the same.
Crossbow bolts, exactly the same. It's probably coincidence. I wouldn't worry about it, though.
So, does this office look exactly the same? On the interior, does it look exactly like Tyrus Bellow's office?
No. It's shaped differently, but you look around and you notice...
Do the items
Actually, give me a perception check.
Yeah, do the items inside look the same? Like it's being stocked with all the same stuff? 15. 31.
Yeah. This has more or less the same things that were in Tyrus's office. The chairs look similar. The table looks the same. It's got that same little weapon rack off to the side with 2 spears and a crossbow and some quarrels.
So it looks like it looks like somebody went into Minecraft and built all these and just used the same stock layout for every building.
Kind of. Yeah, the floor layout is a little bit different, but
but like all of the interior decoration.
Yeah.
So we found these 2 spears. We will equip 2 people with it.
So going outside, I've been to Anvil before. This looks like Anvil, right? Like I clearly, because I've traveled this exact route to Anvil, like going around the firewood. It all looked pretty much right, like a little bit out of place, but pretty much correct.
Yeah.
Going there.
Yeah, okay. And the Acropolis in the center of town looks like the one you have in Anvil. It's still the same street. You recognize that down there is that alleyway that we were hanging out in, and that's the tower that we stone shaped at the base of it. All that stuff.
Okay. So that's yeah, I was trying to gauge that we weren't like just being looped back into Shirebrook or something with like a little bit of illusion over it, but
No, it's definitely not Shirebrook.
Okay, so it's very clearly Anvil.
Yes.
So,
Okay. I guess we're gonna go to the keep and get the 12 spears and 12 pieces of 20 spears, 12 pieces of leather armor, and 6 crossbows.
5 crossbows.
You come to the gate. It's easy to get your way through that. Come to the main doors of the keep, which are locked.
I mean, we can probably force our way in.
Given enough time, you can force your way into the keep. You can build some sort of improvised battering ram and knock down the gates, given sufficient time. That's not an issue. It's just a matter of taking the time to break down the gates.
I mean, if there's an armory here, we should probably take the chance. Or what do you say? What do you say, Van?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you want to take our time breaking down the doors of the keep?
They're all locked? I spaced out for a second. You lost me here.
The gates to the keep are locked. The gates around the walls you can get past, but the actual doors to the keep itself are locked.
The keep is stone, right?
Yes.
And the doors are wood?
Yes. They
Let's just
can be
start a fire
broken
on the
down.
doors.
It'll just take some time. Or we can burn them.
We just burn them. Yeah.
Sure. You set the doors on fire. It takes hours for them to properly
but that's less effort
down,
than having
that's-
somebody chop them down. Burns fewer calories.
Yeah. Also, at one point we could probably just bash in the burning door because
My thinking is that it's probably because I've got like a metal foot too, so I'm probably somewhat protected from the flames.
Once you bash down the doors, then you have this big thing of fire in your way, and it'll take a while to cool it down. You can get through. And
once it gets small enough, I'll like stomp it out. But
Sure.
I figure it's probably better to burn it even if it takes a little bit longer because I figure that'll be fewer calories burned for people.
Once again, the fire doesn't give much in the way of light. It's kind of looking at like heat waves off of a hot ground on a hot day.
Right.
But the smoke coming out of the fire is real and billows and kind of doesn't dim the light since there's no source of light, but it does create these large plumes above you that are visible from a ways away.
So what do we find in the keep?
This is a new keep for you, kind. You've never been here before. Van Helsing, you recognize the interior layout of this place.
Yeah, I remember this place. Fucking Carrick was a dick. God.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Everyone's kind
of
a dick.
there was some good to come of coming here last time. That's how I got Harvest Moon. But so I probably give like kind of tour and go, and this is where we found a cockatrice, and give him like a quick tour the last time I was here.
Where's the armory?
Oh, the armory. And Van has no idea, so he just starts looking around.
Yeah, you guys look for the armory. Give me just 1 sec.
Is there a second Harvest Moon in the cockatrice room?
No.
Packed into a crate.
You find the armory. Inside of it are 6 suits of leather armor, 8 spears, and a pair of crossbows.
So we have now 32 spears, 18 sets of leather armor, and 9 crossbows. Oh, how many quarrels?
You should have 19. You had 13 armor. No, 18 armor now. What did I say? I said 8 spears. That makes it 32 total, and 2 crossbows brings it to 9. And 16 quarrels bring you to.
So we have our small little army. So we can start playing Total War.
I'm just gonna scrap all of these notes. It's too much of a bitch to track all of
What are
these
you
things.
thinking, Sean? You look like there's something on your mind.
Oh yeah, there's something on my mind.
Does Van look like something is on his mind?
I think Van looks around at how everything looks the same. Like in this keep, does everything look like it's kind of decorated the same way as in Shirebrook keep?
The decorations are pretty minimal, so yeah, it's very similar. Like a lot of the trappings that you might normally find in these places aren't here. sure enough, the banners hanging down have the emblem of whoever it is here in Anvil, whereas the banners hanging in the Shirebrook Keep had the Valmont sigils on them. But there's just fewer of these things, and the trappings are minimal.
Okay.
The layouts are definitely different in the keep, but you find yourself looking at a table and being like, "Isn't that? I've seen that table before. I've seen that chair before. That chair's the same chair that there was in the sheriff's office, mate."
It's kind of like somebody has a set list of props that they have, right? And they're just populating the world as we move through it with the props that ought to be there.
Yeah. It's like you're playing Half-Life 1 again, and it's the same models over and over.
Yeah, it's Half-Life 2, and you just see these convenient exploding barrels no matter where you go.
Or it's the Elder Scrolls 2, where the whole world was generated.
No, because all those cities start to look the same after a while too, whereas this at least does look like Anvil. But man, you're not far. You're eerily close with Daggerfall. I'm uncomfortable with that comparison. Bad flashbacks.
All right. So while you're hanging out here, rearming, reconnecting, Mother Elise finds herself, or Van finds himself talking to Mother Elise. Kyan, you can be here too. She's looking at you, Van, and saying, except for that one brief moment, I haven't been able to connect with Astaire in any way. Do you remember what day it was when we left? What day of the month? I at my age, all the days sort of blend together, and I just think about what season I'm in.
I don't know
rather
what
than
day
the
it is right now.
What day was it when we were transported to the plane?
Do you know, Kine? I make a point of mentioning what day of the week and what month and what day and of the week. It's not a very important thing for you guys, since you're adventurers.
Tuesday.
You don't.
We left on Tuesday. So we left on Tuesday to go down to that one place, the New Fort, and then we stayed there Wednesday to get it appraised. We left on Thursday. It went back to Shirebrook. So Friday morning would have been when it happened.
Do you remember what phase the moon was in?
Give or take a day or two. Do you think our contacting the gods had something to do with the lunar cycle?
I don't know if it does or doesn't, but I know that the veil between the worlds, between our sphere, our world and the celestial sphere, is thinnest during the full moon.
The celestial sphere. Do you think we're on the realm of the gods?
Don't know. But I find it easier
here's
to...
food for thought in that case, Mother Elise. If Malchus has abandoned his plane, maybe this harsh, dead world is all that's left. If Malchus abandoned his place in the realm of the gods, maybe this is the aftermath. We're seeing this dead place inhabited by no deity.
But why would Malchus live in a plane that looks just like ours? Only...
Perhaps it's merely building what we need to see as we move through it. Note that everything looks the same wherever we go. Every table, every chair. It's an imperfect reflection of the real world.
Still doesn't explain...
If this is the realm of the gods, where are the others? Unless...
Do they all share a space together on this plane? Perhaps the reason we weren't able to travel is that the sea takes us away from Malchus's domain and would have sent us into another's.
All the ideas and theories on the plane of the gods are speculation. No one's ever been there before. I don't even know if people can live there, or maybe they can. Maybe you might be right. You might be onto something. You think this is... But wouldn't that mean each god has to have their own world?
Why not?
That would...
I mean, does that seem like a far stretch? I don't see why that couldn't be the case. Neal, I've had Harvest Moon for a long time now. Do I notice anything different with the blade, depending on the lunar cycle? Because it has the phases of the moon marked on the blade. Do I ever notice anything different with it near different phases of the lunar cycle?
is a very good question. I feel like there were some notes on that once upon a time.
Yeah, you might be able to find those, but
Yeah. Let me look those up.
I imagine after all of the time I've had Harvest Moon, I might have noticed something to do with that.
Yes, you would have. I might have just been forgetting it. Let's find out. The Harvest Moon has an orange-tinted mithril blade with the phases of the moon engraved on both sides, going from full to new. Its pommel is the remains of a shooting star, and its crossguard is in a downward crescent. La la la, la la, la la la. So no, you have never noticed that the engravings on it change.
Not the engravings, but does anything visually change about the sword at all between phases of the moon? Like, does it ever look different depending on the type of the phase? I feel like that might be something Van was curious about, because you did mention it was made to slay werewolves, and it has the phases of the moon engraved on it. Like, there was a lot about the lunar cycle, and I imagine that's probably something Van would have checked in all the months that he owned the blade.
I think this is probably something that we just forgot to discuss or ever go over, but it would have been really cool to have gone over this before. I think during the day of the full moon and the night directly before and after it, the symbols for those 3 steps of the lunar cycle. I guess that's really just the 2 steps, because it goes from new to full and it doesn't go back down. So the full moon and the almost full moon have like a change in them. Maybe they shed a little bit of light, not bright light, but they kind of have a like a phosphorescent glow in the engravings on them.
Did Van notice anything like that during the prayers to Astaire?
You didn't.
Okay.
But your sword was probably sheathed at that time.
Okay. So Van will say to Mother Elise, I don't know when the next full moon is, but if that's what you're thinking, the sword will I can determine the time of the full moon using this blade, and I pull out Harvest Moon and show her and I explain, like, the blade glows orange, but maybe like there's a different color sheen that the engravings of like the lunar cycles.
I can't see any colors though. It's all grayscale.
No, I know, but it'll glow ever so slightly. It'll stand out against the blade.
She nods.
Only near the full moon, and I believe you said the new moon, right, Neal?
Full moon.
Okay, only near the time of the full moon.
Yeah. Well, that's
within
the time
days immediately before and after. Yeah. So next time that comes up, I will. I'll be sure to keep an eye on it.
Well, what does it say now? She says.
I look at it. Is there anything out of place?
So the blade is just gray, like everything else around you.
Yeah.
Taking a look at those last 2 symbols on the side of the blade. How would you detect a shift in color or light when the world is grayscale?
Imagine light, I imagine, couldn't be that hard to notice if it's being given off from the blade, right? Especially if everything's in grayscale. If something's of a different hue, it might be a different shade of gray. Like everything is in gray, but that doesn't mean that everything looks monochrome. There's a lot of different colors. They're just all in
many different grays. Yes.
Yeah.
So why don't you give me a perception check to see if you can notice a difference in hue between the phases on the blade.
I hope so.
Yes. The whole blade looks gray, but when you get real close up to those last 2 bits, you notice the almost full carving on it. There's just it's just a little bit lighter colored on the inside where the engravings are.
Okay. So Van will say on the almost full moon. So like the day before?
The day before or the day after, since it goes up and then back down.
Okay. So Van will say it's either the day before or the day after the full moon right now. So have you been trying to contact? Did you try to contact her last night?
Him, just a moment.
Or sorry, him.
Maybe an hour, but I haven't been able to notice a change except for that time when we had everyone working together.
Perhaps tomorrow will be the full moon.
But that is also a good news, because it means we were not under the influence of a full moon back in Shirebrook. So
perhaps that mass prayer under the influence of a full moon would have yielded something greater.
Maybe even if we We'll see. We won't be able to reach heat stroke in time, but
Okay, people are armed up.
Yeah.
How long are you guys going to stay in Anvil? Just enough to get weapons and armor and then move on, or do you have anything else you'd like to do?
Refilling provisions, and then I think we're just gonna head out. There's no safety in these towns that Van's found. Like, there was a fucking gelatinous cube on the street that almost just ate him. So I don't think there's any reason to stay in town. It's kind of an imagined safety.
There comes a cry out from the streets as you guys are having this conversation regarding the cycles of the full moon, and the familiar shouts of "Demons! Oh my God, demons!" comes from the people.
Kind, can you take care of this one? Van's maybe a little bit bored of this.
I pull my axe and shout out and run towards the cries.
Okay. And while Mother Elise and Van are alone, I think he wants to talk to her a little bit.
All right. Well, we're going to deal with Kind first right now.
Sure. Perfect.
So, Kind, you bust out onto the streets to see various townspeople backing away, some of them holding clubs, guarding their families and their children, while 4 people are rolling around on the ground, screaming, clutching their guts, and 2 people are actively holding a demon at bay. One person's got like a foot against its belly, the other person's like choking this thing made out of fog, and I need you to roll me initiative roll to join in the fray. You go first, or at least before the demons. Everyone else is standing back, letting this thing happen, watching this thing happen, too afraid to get any closer.
Since attacking them, or trying to hit them would probably, or have a chance to hit the person, I would try to ram one of the guys who's struggling.
Speaking out of game, would it be realistic for him to consider that, like, if he circled around and we're attacking this thing from behind, would he really have a chance to like hit the person if it's like?
Well, it's not like the person is just standing there holding the demon and they're not moving, right? Like if you've seen 2 people grappled and fighting each other, you can move really quickly to change angles and stuff.
Sure,
so,
I'm just confused. Because like normally we fought side by side before in combat, and we've never had this issue of like we might accidentally hit each other.
But it's different when 2 people are
grappling.
Grappled, yeah. When it's grappled, it changes things.
Okay,
totally
sure.
changes.
I was mostly just clarifying for.
It's just grappling.
I will try to get it off him either through ramming it or trying to pry it off him.
So which is it? Are you going to try and pry, or are you going to like wrestle tackle?
Probably I want to tackle it.
All right, give me a roll to hit with your running tackle against the demon.
Normal bonus.
Yep, normal bonuses for level and dex. There you go. You throw yourself at the demon. Give me an opposed strength check. I'll give you a +4 for like a running start and tackle.
Nice.
A D20 plus 17.
Oh, just enough. You rip the demon off of the person. The demon gives a loud cry as it falls to the ground with you. The other demon, you catch out of your corner of the eye. The other demon wrestling with the other person merges into him, and now it's you wrestling the demon on the ground. And on the demon's turn, you feel it changing, starting to shift from this kind of short man-sized thing with basically 4 arms outstretched where there ought to be arms and legs. It shifts into that same thing that you fought with Van. It starts to grow. It starts to take solid form. Its bottom arms turn into legs. These big, broad plates appear over its belly. Small little spikes start to appear over its flesh and shoulders. Horns grow out of its head. Its eyes shift and turn now while its face goes broader and goes from a foggy form to that of an outright monster. And that's what it does for its turn. So initiative.
I will cry to the people. Attack it now!
Give me an initiative roll.
Yeah. So that would be 15.
Oh, no good. It goes first. Where did I have stats? Perfect. It swipes at you with a claw for a 10 to hit.
Nah.
Nope.
Long off.
Okay.
My turn?
Yes, it is your turn.
Before I strike it, I will growl to it. Who are you and your people? Okay, it just growls. Oh my god.
Kind of gets real up close to it and shouts this at it, and then just like this massive mouth opens and just like blows a stream of air and his hair goes flying back.
Yeah, I hit it with
Great
my
cartoon moment.
Oh, 25. Please tell me it's a critical.
That is a single crit? Single crit. Single crit.
I think that means
10
16
damage.
AC.
Shh.
10 damage.
10 damage.
And I pull up my short sword.
Okay. You whap the demon hard. It leaves a trail of blood on the ground in the wake of your axe.
What color is the blood?
Gray.
Of course it's gray. Is it dark gray? Is it dark gray like red?
How much time are you going to spend paying attention to the blood?
Maybe later.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
21.
Ooh, with your sword?
My short sword.
Yes, that is a crit as well.
Ooh.
This is a medium-sized creature, so d6. 2d6, I guess.
It's definitely 16.
11 damage.
You do clear by 5, not book rule of 4, right, Neal?
Right, 5.
Okay.
You hack it once with your axe and run it all the way through with your short sword, and the demon stops moving and topples backwards onto the ground.
Well, that one won't possess anyone. And I mentioned to the people, mark him as well. Can't do anything about the one that entered him.
The 5 people all get markings. I think it's time to discuss what these markings look like.
It's probably
It's just like a blue ribbon, or any color ribbon at this point, but it's like a ribbon that we just wrap around an arm.
Wrap around like an armband ribbon?
Yeah, like just around a bicep or something.
Sure. It's another 5 people possessed.
Yep.
Okay. You're up to 21 possessions out of 107 people total. So you're at about 5% possessed.
Okay.
No, 20% possessed, I mean.
Okay. So if we hit 100% possessed, it's all over. Just try and keep that number below 100.
Who knows, man? Who knows? Why don't we test it?
Sure. We'll do our best to keep it below 100. And then we'll fail, obviously, because these things just keep fucking popping up out of nowhere. And then we'll see what happens.
So, people sort of regather, watch the ones that are possessed. Eventually, all the reprovisioning has been done. The re-equipping of armor is done. Spears are handed out. Crossbows are handed out. Bolts are handed out. And everyone gathers back in a square in town.
Okay, so I mentioned that I wanted to talk to Mother Elise while this was going on.
Oh, yes.
And now that we're alone, I want to say, I'm going to bring up that I attempted to contact Malchus, knowing that
She
he's
looks
the...
at you with horror.
Yeah, I say, knowing that he's the father of the one I serve.
And... But weren't you the one to defeat the clerics of Malchus that were murdering all the nobles? Aren't you the one who have been fighting against his efforts?
I simply killed people who I thought did something in the wrong. They described their actions as a mere stirring of the pot. Perhaps my actions were simply another flick of the wrist that stirs the pot. I hold no ill will toward Malchus. And frankly, I'm going to be honest with you. And he kind of leans in a little bit closer and says, I made some form of contact. It wasn't a conversation. It was nothing like when I can reach Cheese, but there was something there. I think we might be on his plane.
It's dangerous. If you make contact with him, it's a two-way road.
Agreed. At the end of the day, though, he's a deity. I don't think there's much I could do to oppose his efforts, even if I wanted. I understand your reservations, but you need to understand we're running low on options here, Mother Elise.
And that I do not judge you for your actions. I only fear that they may be causing more harm than good.
Perhaps. One thing you may want to know. This happened roughly last night, so it's actually possible that this occurred because of the full moon. I've been unable to reach Cheese in the days prior, but that might simply be because there was no lunar cycle to work off of at that point. Perhaps I'll keep that in mind for next month. But
should we wait and not move out? Should we try to? There's a temple in town. We could.
It might be the day after the full moon already. Is my concern. I did it before. If it's the day after the full moon, then I attempted to contact Malchus the night of. And if it's the day before, then it's simply because this is Malchus's domain. That's the only description I can think of to justify it.
She nods slowly. Well, it is good of you to tell me this.
One thing you might want to Oh my god, as a player, I completely forgot what I was going to say. Oh shit. It was semi-important. That's something I wanted to mention. Just move on. I'll mention it if I remember. But Van had something he wanted to mention to her, and I'll just let you know if I remember what it was.
Sure. Everyone gathers together and continues the march north. So if we take a look at the map, actually, we're not. We've got one more thing to do in town first, actually. From Anvil to Heatstroke is more or less a straight shot. You just head north.
So I think we want to make sure that we can see. I want to maybe go a little bit east to make sure that we can see the mountains to our right, so that we have a marker to know we're going north.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say without any markers in the plains, it's easy to get turned around. But
yeah, so I'm going to make sure that we can see the mountains to our right.
All right. As everyone is getting ready to head out of town, a woman comes up to Mother Elise, sobbing, holding an emaciated dead child in her arms. It becomes readily apparent that this child is the first victim of starvation.
Okay.
How old does the child look?
10 years old. Kind of a grim moment. No one's really sure what to do, and the whole camp keeps moving.
One thing I do want to mention with that thing that Kine slayed, Van wanted to cut into it and see if there was any meat.
There's
it
something
turned into
that
a
looks
physical
like
entity.
muscle. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so Van's going to cut into it, start a small fire, and cook it. He's got that cooking proficiency. He's going to see if this is any different from all of this ashen meat that he's been eating from the other creatures. You want to see if there's a difference at these things.
Okay, now that he's doing that...
Also, it's going to taunt that fucker who possessed him. Know that he's eating one of his own kind.
What kind of grayscale is the blood?
Well, it's kind of dark. You'd need a sample of human blood to really compare it to. You're not familiar with what human blood looks like on this planet.
I could just make a small cut into my finger and compare without damaging.
Go ahead, make a small cut into your finger without any damage. You drip some blood on the ground, and they're fairly close. The demon's blood looks a little lighter in color, but not that much. It might just be, the amount that's pooled on the ground is a little bit different, or the way it's pooled, or what's underneath it is slightly different.
I drip some of my blood into the demon's blood.
Kine, don't give me. You're gonna give me hepatitis. Stop that.
When you drip yours into it, you can't see a difference between them.
Okay, so no reaction or something. The blood is
no,
behaving.
There's
it's
no
not
reaction.
acid blood.
We're not dealing with
so with this
here.
with this small scrap of meat that Van kind of spits over a fire. I let it cook for a while, and then I'm same thing. Maybe cook it a little bit more than usually necessary because I want to make sure I don't get food poisoning for the first time with the new meat. And then he's gonna try out a little small bite.
Give me a Constitution check.
Sure.
It's so disgusting.
15, I think. 32.
All right. It's hard to go down, but it goes down. It doesn't
Does
taste
it-
like ash, but it tastes like something rotten. You know, it
Something
tastes like
rotten.
it tastes like meat that went bad a week ago.
Okay, so Van tosses it away and says, well, it's different, but not the kind of different I would have hoped for.
Well, was worth a shot. Well, let's move on.
Everyone gathers together and proceeds to march north. So, again, I don't want to tell you guys how many days have passed, so I haven't
Right.
mentioned how much you guys have healed.
So I do want to keep an eye on Harvest Moon to know if it was the day before or after the full
Right.
moon.
We'll get there. But I do want to say that you have been walking for a long time, and not very strenuous walking because you've been moving at half pace with all these people.
Okay.
So I'm going to restore to you a certain number of hit points that I have calculated on my own. So why don't you both recover? Let's see, how long did you walk? When did you have battles? Battles stop healing.
Today,
And then
I'm at 29 out of 41, so I'm not doing too
I
bad.
think you both regain 6 hit points.
So I'm
Okay.
at 29 out of 37.
35 out of 41.
By the way, Neal, I will continue making javelins. So
Right. I'll let you know when you get more.
Okay.
I'll probably do it every few in-game days. That way you don't have a sense of how many you're making per day or anything like that. So you guys march north of Anvil.
Yeah, one thing I want to do during these rest periods, one of these nights, Van wants to, like, without his armor on, look and see if he's withering away from starvation like everyone else, or if he's in fairly good shape.
No,
physically.
your flesh is good. Your muscle tone is as fantastic as ever. But most of the people around you have gotten quite thin.
Okay. And all the marked people are looking pretty good?
Oh yeah, totally fine. It's becoming very readily apparent, even without the armbands, who is possessed and who's not, based
Okay.
on their physical form and their energy levels.
Lose that much after maybe a week or Neal. Yeah,
I'm telling you what's going on. You can make any judgments and comparisons you want, but I'm letting you know how it's happening.
I just want to say
Okay, Van's gonna speak with Mother Elise at some point and say, I don't want to wish this upon you, but should you feel that you're going to fall, we need you, Mother Elise. We can't afford to lose a spellcaster in this world.
What are you suggesting?
If you feel that you're close to keeling over from starvation, it might be the lesser of two evils to take one of those creatures into you. I mean, and Van just kind of like gestures toward himself. I'm not happy about this arrangement, but at least I'm not close to falling over, dead, emaciated and withered away. I don't suggest you do it now. I think you have a while yet that you can continue on, but if you're coming to the point where you're feeling weakened that you can't continue to go on, I would strongly suggest you consider that option. If not for your sake, then for everyone else's. We need you here.
Is this the conversation you had with Malchus?
No.
Is he planting ideas in your head?
Would you like to know about the conversation with Malchus? It might not be quite as endearing as you would hope it was. It wasn't even a
Trust what you
conversation.
have to say, even.
Believe what you will, but I'll describe it regardless. It was as though I was in a room and there was some sort of monster in my closet. And I couldn't communicate with it despite trying, but it was there and I knew it was there. There was
Monster's
no conversation
an
to be
appropriate
had.
analogy.
Man just kind of smiles and pats her on the shoulder and says, just keep it in mind.
Hmm.
If not for your sake, then for the others. If we do manage to get spells back, you might be one of the few people who can help all these people.
You guys continue your march north through the open grasslands of the Golden Sea. Yeah, kind?
do I notice from time to time Kine will check on people who are possessed and see if there's any difference, especially those who were possessed in the beginning.
Give me a charisma check.
Roll 20 plus. What is my charisma? 18.
You can't notice any difference on these people. You don't know them well enough. You're a fairly antisocial person to begin with, and
Did I notice the change in phases on Harvest Moon?
yes, you do.
It went to full moon or away from full moon?
It goes to full moon after God knows
Okay.
how many hours of marching in the Golden Sea. At
Van-
some point,
Van
everyone
Calls to
stopped.
Mother Elise. As soon as he notices, he stops the group. He calls to Mother Elise. He shows her the sword, and he plants it in the ground in front of him, like stabs it into the earth, and immediately goes into prayer to Cheese.
Okay.
Mhm.
Your prayers are faintly echoed. You can. It's like talking through a thick wall, or maybe not a thick wall, but like a nice, a wall with 2 layers of drywall on it. You can kind of hear the conversation, but it's a little bit muffled. However, it is clear enough that you feel you might even be able to memorize spells.
Ooh.
Oh my god. Please. Please.
What?
Van, I think before even going into spells, there's probably like a few tears that go down his face as he says, "It's been far too long." And then it is attempting to commune. Am I able to get any words between us?
Well, what words would you like to get through?
I want to ask if she knows anything about this place I'm in.
So far away, I can barely hear you, comes the reply. I can barely hear you.
Do you think your father is involved?
There's not a reply to that.
Okay. Then I guess that's all I can really I don't really know what else I'd ask at this moment. So I think right now I'm going to see if I can learn a spell.
All right, what spell would you like to try to learn?
I'm going to try and learn Cure Light Wounds first. Go with something simple on first level.
Okay. You sit down in prayer and focus, and you can feel the spell out there, and it takes a long time. A much longer time than it would normally take, but yes, you do learn Cure Light Wounds.
Okay. How long would you how long would Van estimate off this?
Like 5 times the normal amount of time it took.
Okay.
Ish. I'm not going to give it exactly away.
Then
But why don't you tell me the spells that you want to memorize in the order you want to memorize them, and I'll let you know how it goes down.
Sure. So I'm going to take a second Cure Light Wounds.
Okay.
And then I might just actually skip. I do have all of my 3rd level spells. I haven't used any of those. I'm low on second. Could take another one from that. Let me see what for. You can do something else with roleplay while I look at my spell list really fast if you want.
Sure. Kine. The whole party
Because-
stops. Everyone stops to do this. Mother Elise also goes into prayer to memorize spells, while everyone else sits around to.
I think
for the clerics.
after what seems to be an hour, yeah, I think I would. Who would I try to interrupt? Because I don't know what's going on. Probably Van. After an hour or so, I would probably interrupt you because
I think Van just like shrugs you off and like shakes his head. And just like goes back to what he was doing.
Okay, then I will just prepare people to make camp.
Okay. All right, so everyone buckles down to make camp. Not sure what the 2 clerics are doing, but they're both very intent on their thing. The other nobles in the area agree with you that we should probably everyone should just
Neal?
sit and wait for them.
Van Helsing takes Reflecting Pool.
What level is that?
4th level.
Okay.
It's going to take a long time, but that's after the second Cure Light Wounds.
Sure.
Yeah. Also, I would like. I mean, I'm a ranger, and I get cleric spells later on, so I would have to have some knowledge about gods. Can I lead some people into prayer?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, to which god do you pray?
I would say cheese, because
Ooh, that's different. You're abandoning Relcor?
I'm not abandoning Relcor, but contact. I've never established a contact with Relcor, and now it seems like Van needs all the prayers he can get.
Okay, so you start praying to chiefs. Anything in particular you want to say to her?
No, I probably lead people into a prayer to Jesus, to this silent or not silent, but
Low pitched, like low hymn.
Yeah, prayer to steady the main priest or cleric.
Okay.
Because it seems like this is very important what he's doing. I don't know what the sword. He never told me about Harvest Moon, so I don't know what the sword means, but it seems important. And he is definitely in prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is praying, right? He is reciting.
Yeah, I think what happened was like you saw him look at his sword really closely, and then he just like immediately called for Mother Elise, ran up, showed it to her, stabbed his sword into the ground, just immediately went into prayer. So you probably got an idea that it was like something that prompted this.
Okay. What other spells would you like to memorize? You do gain your 2 Cure Light Wounds and your Reflecting Pool.
Okay, I got Reflecting Pool. In that case, I'm going to look into a 2nd level spell and then call it good because I don't want to take too long right now. I'm going to be honest. So I think I might take... Ooh. Would Restore Strength help somebody who is suffering the effects of starvation? You can read the spell on the spell list if you want. It's meant to like counter spell effects that drain people.
What's
but
the
I
duration, or is it permanent?
Instantaneous. It's just it restores people who have been drained.
I don't think it would. I think it might temporarily give you the strength back.
Well, I imagine it might like help with that starvation, but they'd start to starve again afterwards. I think it's like it helps counteract the effects of like chill touch, ray of enfeeblement, ray of fatigue. Imagine it might help with like restore the weakness from starvation, but then they just start starving all over again.
Yeah, because you're not giving them sustenance. It's just
right.
I would say it would give a temporary reprieve from the effects of starvation. So if you cast Restore Strength on a starving person for some period of time, they would be able to act normal, and then the spell would wear off, and they'd go back to being starving.
Okay. Let me look at this then.
How long, by the way, Neal, do we have any feel for this, how long this will take?
I mean, how long it will take for them to memorize spells? What do you mean?
I mean, you said 5 times is normal. He has a feeling for 5 times is normal or something, but we on the outside don't know that. So how long do you see?
Well, I don't know how many spells he's memorized. So when he's done telling us how long it's been, I'll let you know what's up.
I'm going to take... I don't actually have a whole lot that's going to be very, very useful in this place. I could do... I already have 2 Cure Moderate Wounds, and I've got that... Maybe I'll just take another 1st level. There's very little vegetation, right? Entangle wouldn't be very useful here.
The Grasslands has lots of grass.
Okay.
Lots and lots of grass.
I'm going to take No Time. That's a 1st level spell.
Okay.
Ooh, here's an interesting one. I'm going to take No Age as well.
What is that?
First level.
Okay.
And then I'm done for now.
Okay. You get all of those spells.
Okay, so I'm going to find a natural, get a basin or something. I'm going to set up a pool of water in a natural setting.
Okay.
And then I'm going to attempt to scry on Malachi.
Well, you've got your nice big barrel.
Mm-hmm. And I'll go take it out to a natural setting. And I'm going to cast Reflecting Pool. I'm going to scry on Malachi.
Okay, so the 2 of you gather around for this spell. And why don't we take our last break, and when we come back, we'll see what's on the other side. Bye-bye.